Hello, this is Elaine with Elaine's Creations, and in this video I'm going to show you how to make this fun gatefold card with the Art in Bloom bundle. All right, so here is the Art in Bloom bundle. This is a special bundle because it includes this 3D embossing folder. And not only is it just a regular, it's not just a regular 3D embossing folder. The embossing folder works with the die, and so you can cut and emboss at the same time. Pretty cool. So I'm going to show you how I did this with this gatefold card. So I'm going to use shimmery white embossing folder because I'm going to do some watercoloring on it. So I'm going to put those aside and grab a piece of shimmery white 4 by 5 1/4. And I'm going to make sure this is stationary and place this inside my embossing folder. I'm going to use my die cutting machine. So I'm going to use number 1. It says here on the platform, using with a 3D embossing folder, you want platform 1 and then the embossing folder and then number 4. So here's the embossing folder and here is number 4. So I'm just going to roll this through. Okay. And then here's the magic. When I open it up, the flowers are going to be cut and embossed. Isn't that cool? Cutting and embossing at the same time, so you don't have to cut and then emboss. I think it's amazing. So cool. Okay, so that's our embossing folder and our die. So I'm going to put the embossing folder aside and I'm going to put our die back on here. And then put the die cutting machine away. And then I just want to point out that there's also some nice leaves on here. So here's a full leaf right there. So I'm gonna just roughly cut that out. I'll cut it out better later, but I'm just gonna save that for another card. And then I think there's another one, this one over here, that's mostly a full leaf. I can tuck that piece right there under another flower. I don't know if you can see the embossed piece right there. Okay, so now I'm gonna do a bit of watercoloring on these flowers. Just gonna pull this over here. I'm gonna grab a scrap piece of paper. So I've got a bit of stamping to do. You can see I've done it in my Facebook Live. So I'm gonna do this flower and this flower. I'm gonna put this one away. I'm gonna use Highland Heather and start with some Daffodil Delight in the centers. So I've got my aqua painter here. Just gonna squeeze to get a little bit of water going over here. Yeah. Get the centers wet. I always start by getting the paper wet. And then I'm gonna grab some ink. I might have to get the re-inker because this is pretty low here on ink. Looks like I have a piece of lint. Let me grab the re-inker. So I store my re-inkers in this little box from Michaels. I like to keep them upright so that they don't leak. I've had them leak before in a holder that I was using that kept them sideways, and the re-inker leaked all down the side of my holder and stained it. So now I keep them so that they're upright and so that they don't leak. So I'm gonna just color the centers of the, you see it's much brighter now that I got some more ink. So I'm gonna recolor these. So that's much brighter now. And then I'm going to rinse that off a little bit. And I'm gonna color I'm gonna get the petals wet again, and then I'm gonna use Highland Heather to color these in. So I'm gonna start with a really light color first, and then I'm going to add the dark. So I'll add the dark after. So there's the dark right there. And then I'll just keep coloring in the light, and I'll put the dark in the middle. Now the reason why I usually wet the paper first is so that I don't have any like rough edges, and it also lets the ink flow and move on the paper, and it's not as, what's the word I'm looking for? Just that's the way you do watercolors, I guess. It's one way. You don't have to do it that way. You can do it more dryly, I guess, but this is just one way that I like to do it because I like the ink to flow and to look watercolory. So I like the water to move the color. So here we have the watercolor here. And I'm just gonna get the ink in there inside the and then we'll do this bottom petal, these bottom petals right here. And it's fun because you can get some dark ink in the embossed areas, and you can go back and add more water and work in some more ink if you want to get in some darker spots or blend in some different areas. You can go back and do that if you want. I went back in and added some dark areas in there, so you can do that. If you want to add some really dark, just do some dark. Unfortunately, I should have waited until my yellow was a little bit drier because the water, the ink is starting to creep into the yellow. Ah! So it's a good thing to wait until, you know, it's dry, until you do another color, or be careful not to get the water into your other color. It's just a nice kind of calming, fun thing to do. I like to just sit and watercolor, sit and watch TV and watercolor. And you could use watercolor paper, and then you'd have even more time, and you could work even more color into your flower. Watercolor paper is obviously made for watercoloring and will accept more water than shimmery white paper will. So you'll have even more time to play with the water and the watercolor and the water paper. So our inks are water-based inks, and so that's why they work so nicely for watercoloring. Add some more color here. These are pretty light compared to the first ones that I did. I think because I did those, I really spent a lot of time working a lot of color into them. So you can spend as much time as you want and go back as much as you want, and you can do as much as you want. But for now, I'm just going to do a really light, quick coloring of purple, of Highland Heather. The other thing that's nice about watercoloring is it's artistic. It's, you know, not as precise as some other mediums are. And so, you know, if it does spill over into something else, that's okay. It's artistic. You know, it's part of the charm of watercoloring. It's not a mistake, it's artistic. So add a little bit more color, a little bit darker in here. You can add more, go back and add more later. I can play with those later, but I'm gonna stop for now, and I'm going to stamp the bottom of my card. So I have already cut out a scalloped piece for the middle of the card and a scalloped piece from the Stitched So Sweetly. This is from the Scalloped Contour dies. This is from Stitched So Sweetly dies. And then this is a 4 1/4 by 11 piece of cardstock. And I have scored it at 2 and 7.5. So 2 and 7.5. And I'm going to stamp the bottom here with Highland Heather. And pull that up. This fun dot pattern. There's 2 patterns in the stamp set, dots and rectangles. So I'm gonna do the dots. And so it doesn't quite go the whole distance. So you just kind of stamp it twice and then offset it the next row. It creates a fun pattern. And then offset it again. One more row. And there we have our fun little pattern here on the bottom. And for the inside, going to stamp a sentiment in basic gray. And so for the front, I stamp Dear Friend, and then inside, I'm gonna stamp You're a Rare Find. So I'm just gonna place that in the upper middle, and then do some of these fun little flowers. Highland Heather. Do some over here and here, down here. And let's do Dear Friend. Dear Friend. And I'm gonna do that towards the bottom here. There we go. Ah, crooked. Oh well. Just gonna deal with it. We're gonna attach this to the middle. An old dimensional somehow in there. So it's fun to, you know, put something inside the card, especially a scalloped rectangle. Fun to find that. And then we're going to attach this in the middle with dimensionals, but only put them on the top. So I've cut some of the edges here from my mini dimensionals. It's kind of funny, they want to stick really want to stick to this thing here. So just remove those. Okay, so we'll place that in the middle, like so. Okay, so now we can put our flowers on, and I've already stamped and cut out the leaves. So for the leaves, there's an outline stamp and a stamp to fill it in, and the stamp to fill it in is distinctive, so it leaves this texture on the paper, excuse me. And then there are 2 dies to cut it out, so you can cut out double the amount. There are also 2 of the other leaf dies as well. There's this fun ticket die too, and this long tag die as well. Okay, so I'm gonna put dimensionals on these. So put one up here, and we'll do one over here, down here. Kind of lower than I wanted it. I think I'm gonna try to twist this off. Dee, 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 dee. You can still move things once you put them down. Twist them off, or you can use one of these palette knives to kind of peel it off. Okay, this is better. There. And then just put some adhesive on the leaves. Okay, and we've got our leaves. And so here we have our fun gatefold card using the Art in Bloom bundle. And the bundle is so fun because it includes the embossing folder. So I am offering a free card kit when you purchase the bundle. And the bundle does include all 3 items. And the card kit includes supplies for 6 cards, and just use my current hostess code to purchase the bundle, and email me and let me know that you would like this card kit, and I will send it right out to you. Thanks so much for watching this video tutorial. Don't forget to check out my other video tutorials on the Art in Bloom bundles, and give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my YouTube channel to check out all my other videos, and click on the notification bell so that you know when I post a new video. Thanks for watching again, and I'll see you next time. Bye.